Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment brought to you by Hula Crunch Popcorn Crunchy Yummy Goodness. Today we will be talking about the Abuja-Kaduna rail incident and the insecurity in the country. Now, following successive attack on the Kaduna Airport and a passenger train on the Abuja-Kaduna route by bandits which claimed many lives and abduction of a lot of people, President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the nation's security agencies to ensure without further delay the release of all the kidnapped passengers and the immediate arrest of the terrorists who carried out the bloody attack, which has affected the whole country and the security infrastructure of the nation. And having this conversation with me, we have Barrister Olufemi Franklin Olufemi. He is senior partner at Law Corridor. Welcome to the Weekend Show and good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you. So this is a hard conversation because it's fresh. It just happened a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And there's just a whole lot to unpack. And this is a trigger warning for people who are sensitive to such topic. We will be talking about the lives lost and the incidents which happened along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. And so if this is too hard for you, we'll be back with a different topic after the lifestyle segment. But let's come to you. Kaduna State, we saw what happened at the airport just some days earlier, and the military were able to go and disperse the bandits and all. However, one of the security officers at the airport was killed. And so you would expect some heightened level of security in the state.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, most of the governors and chief security officers of the state were in Abuja for the APC convention in the last week. And then you had the Abuja-Kaduna rail incidents. Let's hear your opening take on this situation.
Okay, so first things first. Government itself is supposed to be a product of the people. That is, for the good of the people. So I just want to say that whatever the circumstance, whatever the activities, whatever the object of any government, the most important thing to start with is the comfort, security, and protection of the governed, because the governed are the employers of government. It's really sad that we have experienced over time, several spate of terrorism across Nigeria. Before we're talking about the Northeast, but now it's all over Nigeria. And Kaduna is becoming, the issue in Kaduna is becoming very, very worrisome. Initially, we had issues with the road, and we expected that the roads were being secured. This has been handled, But all of a sudden, we're having a situation whereby it's expanding. It's expanding to the airport, to the train, to the rail system, and this is not the first time. We would expect that if we have had an incident like this before, there would have been, in place certain security measures to prevent a reoccurrence, But I would not want to assume, as a lawyer, you're not allowed to assume, you're allowed to just speak on fact. But it's really sad that it would appear that we have taken some other business, more important over and above the business of the protection and security of the people of Nigeria, the governed, population of Nigeria. I just want to say that it goes above, visiting the incidents, the venue of the attack. It goes above, speaking to the press about these issues. It goes above calling meetings over meetings. I think it's important that we see some overt reaction, some overt act to prevent a reoccurrence of these things, because that incident now claimed lives. We are aware about 7 or 8 lives,
and we're still finding out more.
And we don't even know what other numbers will come, along the line. You see, it's important that we ensure that this thing do not occur again. Nigeria is a social contract. It's a contract between the people and the government. But it appears that our political elite, with all due respect to them, have forgotten that there's a contract. And they've, from what we have seen over time, this contract has been breached over and over and over again. And I would not also let off the population, the ordinary people's population off this time, because we also did this to ourselves. Where you have a population that comes to elections with the hope of getting 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira in order to vote, then you have changed the whole rudiment of an election. You're not saying that, look, I'm taking this money from you, I'm selling my vote to you, so you owe me nothing any longer. I was privileged to participate in some election as a youth corps member, and I cannot forget what one particular elderly man said. I would not say the state. He said that his friend said, come and vote now. And he said, they never give me money. And until someone called him and gave him money, he did not cast any votes.
So I think, when we talk about elections, and it's our chance to hold the people in power accountable, and that's something we'll be discussing in our political segment later.
Okay.
The political parties, the big names, all they just do is these days get consensus candidates. The parties handpick the candidates and put them out for people to vote for, and so the best people most likely won't get the ticket. We've seen it in the APC and PDP with their conventions. Their chairmen were pretty much handpicked for them, so it's no longer about the popular vote or who is the most capable. It's about who is popular within the party and who the powers that be select. And so that's something which we'll discuss later. But because you mentioned politicians, before the 2019 election, there was a lot of header farmer crisis, named bandits and all whatnot. We're told not to call it Fulani headsmen, call them bandits, not to call them this, next thing terrorists. And so this is terrorism on the Nigerian land. Now, it's almost 2023 elections, and all of a sudden, insecurity has heightened again. We are seeing what's happening, and it's even coming close to the capital. Do you perchance think this is politically motivated? Some of these attacks, which we see come up before the 2015 election, there's a lot of insecurity. Before 2019 election, a lot of insecurity. Now 2023 election is less than a year from now. Do you feel this has a connection to the election and politicians?
Well, I would not necessarily tie to political plays, or political systems or games in order to secure or to sway, or sentiment, to instill fear or anything. I would not necessarily do that, because, but I would not say it is unconnected to politics, or to the political ideology of democracy. Because, and that's why I mentioned the whole issue about politicians initially, because what I'm trying to say is, where you have a government, at the state of nature, where there was no government, there was no law, there was nothing, people could get away with anything they wanted to get away with. Might was right. And this was the major issue that necessitated government and laws and order. So basically, if there's government today, and people can still get away with whatever they want to get away with, and they can still do whatever they want to do, then there's a failure of that government. It means we have returned to the state of nature where life was nasty, brutish, and short. So this is what I'm talking about. So it is important that we understand that government and politics must be steered in such a way to safeguard the people, the populace, the governed. It's not just about talking about, what if the minister, with all due respect to him, of transportation, he was lamenting about the fact that funds were not released, to have avoided this type of situation and all of that. I do not think that it is sufficient, for the minister to come to the press and tell us that. I think if we have a working system, then we should not be talking about funds being released or not being released and making excuses after people's lives has been taken. So it also comes to the issue of commerce. Kaduna State is one of the highly industrialized states in the north. And where you have a state that is being cut off from the mainstream by banditries, by terrorism, and everybody is now afraid of going to Kaduna State, then you are setting in motion a very, very dangerous situation where Kaduna State is likely to be isolated, and it affects both the lifestyle of people in that state and the lifestyle of all the other connecting states. And you also know that Kaduna State is connected to the central, to the FCT, and that's also a very, very dangerous game. It's like a bottleneck. It's like strangulating, movement, strangulating commerce and all of that. And that is very, 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 if that's allowed to continue, and this has been on for more than a year, if this precedent is allowed to continue and these guys, these terrorists are not checked, then we're going to have a very big problem in our hands, because they'll become emboldened and they'll continue to multiply their activities. We are aware that there have been activities in other places, villages, where they've gone to raid and kidnap and adopt, and this continues and it goes on and on. I mean, if we cannot, if the government cannot secure the people there, who will guard the guard? Who is going to secure them?
I see your passion, which is also my problem to lawyers, because you're going to take over my show. So we've mentioned politicians. Let's talk about governance. Madam Nasiru El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, has said several times that the Nigerian army and security services should go bombard places in the forests where these kidnappers are, which brings to a sense of saying the security agencies know where these people are, at least the areas where these bandits stay within the forests. However, once again, because of human rights and collateral damage, it makes it harder to take these people out. I remember during the time of GJ, this was a conundrum which they found themselves in. And so it becomes, you can't put it on the governor because he has said, this is what I suggest you should do. The Minister of Transportation said he spoke to the government and said, you need to provide funds to secure the rail lines. So who should be held accountable? And you said you didn't think the minister should have said that, but everyone is saying someone must be held accountable. So we can't necessarily hold the state governor accountable because he's the chief security officer of the state, but all power and authority still comes from Abuja. Absolutely. The minister can't raise funds, and that's not for me to debate, to secure the line. So who should be held accountable? The president or the security chiefs who we asked to be changed and they were changed? Who now is responsible for securing the lives and properties of Nigerians?
Okay, I do believe that government is a system that works, and government is not in isolation. If one person is not government. I do not even think we should hold the governor of Kaduna State accountable, because the governor of Kaduna State, though the chief security officer of the state, does not really hold the embodiment of power to pursue the security of the state in isolation. So it needs to work with the federal government. And this issue is not even a state issue. It's a national issue. It's an issue that threatens the sovereignty of the state. So I do expect that there should be a synergy between the government of Kaduna State and the government of the Federation to work together to put an end to this banditry and terrorism. Now, I understand also, and actually expressed some concerns. I think the governor was being very passionate and sentimental in my own thoughts when he said that they should go ahead and bombard and bomb these places. And he said something very, very instructive. He said, we know where they are. We tap into their telephone conversations. We know what that. So you have this intelligence that you can actually use. But then, when you're talking about defense, I'm not a military officer. I'm sure the military officers, they know all about defense and all about how to go about defense. I'm not a military officer. But I do believe that there's a system of, putting boots on the ground and going to these places, using local intelligence, getting information on where the terrorists are or where this, and, getting the adopted persons, the kidnapped persons out of harm's way, and then dealing with the rest. It's not going to be easy. It's not just about flying over a place and dropping bombs. That is going to be genocide, because you don't even know who you are killing eventually. Even if you say that okay, this is where they are. I do believe that some of these guys use other civilians as bodyguards, body covers. So you cannot, body shields. That's the word. So you cannot necessarily, except when start killing other Nigerians. So there must be a system. And I do believe that Nigerians, being some of the most intelligent persons in the world, the whole world has testified to it, we can come up with a system to defend and protect and safeguard the lives of our people.
So
It's not just about
basically,
talking about
are you
it.
saying there's no political will to solve this problem then? If, I mean, we've seen the cracks within the APC, the back and forth and the divisions leading up to their convention, and but they seem to follow the instruction of the president. So why can't they prioritize this like the party? Um, I mean, but you're not in government, so that's not your place. A final question for
Absolutely.
you. These bandits, these terrorists are human beings, Nigerians, with names from several states, or maybe not Nigerians. But you have communities where some of these people are people's children's brothers, fathers, family. We talk about local intelligence. What's the role of Nigerian citizens? Because if some people are benefiting from it, because we always hear people say, oh, we've been in rooms with these people where they've had meetings. We've had XYZ. We had Shigumi who could arrange meetings with these bandits freely, and they come and they give press briefings and the likes. What should the citizens do to help the security, architecture and infrastructure to root out these people? Because we also have a role to play.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to be very careful about this topic because, like you said, they are human beings. And we must also agree that the whole ideology or the whole idea of banditry transforming or metamorphosing into terrorism, being proscribed and all of that, you know, it took a lot. And, you know, we also knew about the herdsmen, you know, killing farmers and, you know, doing all sort of things. So, yes, these are people. But there's certain things I would not want to say online. You know, even
these are terrorists
even,
at this point.
Yeah. Even personal stories, you know, we have all suffered. Do you understand? It is those, the families of those that have been murdered, killed in cold blood. Those are the people that know what it feels like. A lot of times, read it on the news. You know, we watch it on TV. We say, oh. You know, there are statistics like, okay, 20 people died, 50 people died. But you won't feel it until somebody's father is killed. You know,
like the
on
doctor,
the
Dr.
road.
Chinelo, the young girl who
Yes, that
even
doctor
tweeted and asked for help.
A very young doctor. Look at that. She's just beginning her
That's
life.
just sad.
That's someone's daughter. The parents have invested so much in her, and they've seen her grow to this point, and suddenly she vanishes away. That is the part of the story that brings pain. That brings pain, that makes you doubt if your country thinks about you or thinks about itself. It's very, very important. And these are the things that causes and brings about changes in lifestyles, changes in perceptions, changes in reactions. And you see people begin to lose faith in Nigeria. People want to leave the country. People want to go to even places you cannot think about. And you're wondering, Nigeria is better than this place. But people just want to leave because they feel like they've been disenfranchised. They never belong anywhere anymore. They're lost in their own space. These are the things. These are the things. So I know, even on a personal note, I know how these things feels like. What it means to lose a family member. Suddenly, see somebody today, tomorrow, somebody kills him, just like that. Somebody kills her, just like that. So it's important that the government retraces its steps. I'm not saying that they're not doing nothing, but we need to see what is being done. And as far as I'm concerned, so far, we have not seen effectively the efficiency of the government in security. I know that there's a lot of budgets being pumped into these areas, but we need to see the results. If we're not seeing the results, then we're at a loss.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Olufemi Franklin Olufemi, a lawyer at Law Corridor. It's been a pleasure having you on this segment. And that's the much we can take on this segment, but we must say it is quite sad seeing Nigerians lose their lives every other day, every other week as a result of insecurity, especially with one issue which this particular administration had come to force, saying they were going to fight insecurity. We all have a role to play, from the citizens, but most importantly, the governments who have been elected to represent the people and protect the lives and properties of Nigeria. Our heart goes to the families of people who lost their loved ones and those injured as a result of this issue. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly after this break with more on the Weekend Show.